Sometimes people have asked me why I do paintings of goddess figures, and I want to say that we talk sometimes about perceptual shifts, breakthroughs, or epiphanies, and I'm not sure which word I would use, but that is what happened to me in a museum in Athens, Greece, more than a decade ago. There I saw a cyclotic goddess figurine and discovered then that at one time in our history, God was a woman. I was surprised at the impact that it had on me, and at the time I didn't fully understand it. All I knew was that it felt good to have this knowledge, and I wanted to study the subject as thoroughly as I could. So I spent the next several years reading books on archaeology, ancient religious mythologies, and the early history of Western religion. I learned that for as much as 30,000 years, God had been a woman, and that these goddess cultures were both peaceful and egalitarian. I believe we have a lot to learn from these cultures, so I began painting modern women as goddesses, drawing from the knowledge from those three areas. People have asked me if men should feel threatened by God being a woman, and I say no, not at all. These goddess cultures were rarely matriarchal, but instead predominantly partnership societies. Also, the traditional feminine values of compassion and relationship can be lacking in both male and female, especially in male-dominant societies. My message is one of balance between the masculine and the feminine, and not a dominance for either one. This message might sound challenging, but it's not so much that I want to change religion, but more to direct attention to what I see as a mistaken emphasis. The Bible was written during extremely patriarchal times, and that bias is reflected in the language and the use of male pronouns. Recent surveys show that over 90% of Americans, whether religious or not, have an image of God as male. My approach is historical and sociological, but I know that religion influences culture. Our Unitarian minister, Dr. Ken Collier, here in Santa Barbara, has said thinking of God as male can lead men to think that they are more like God or ultimate reality than females are. This then can lead people to treat women in dismissive ways and to discount the so-called feminine qualities of compassion, tenderness, and relationship. Just being aware of the consequences of seeing God only as male is therefore important. Images convey a message, and I'm hoping that mine will strike a balance. It was that of the ancient cultures, partnership and peace. I achieve my purpose if I can influence a broader perspective of how we view the divine.